Hey, yeah, what's up? This disciple Marcello Kearns reign back up in this anti-Illuminati all day, anti-cop all day, anti-America all day, anti-gang stalker all day, anti-telepathy all day. Yeah, so this video is going to be about it's going to be a campaign that's ongoing about the cops protecting their own when it comes to pedophilia. See, what I've noticed is when I couldn't help but notice that when the cops do something with these kids, quiet is kept. And last time I checked, the civilians here, although some of them are pedophiles, they're not trained and paid to protect children. So which one is worse? A pedophile that messes with a child that's not paid to protect children? Or a cop that is paid to protect children and trained to protect children, but yet here they are having sex with a child? That's worse because you have to override all your training. Now, don't you? And you're still getting paid for it. You're still getting paid by the American community while you're having sex with children. And if you notice, look at it for what it is. When have you seen cops outed really as an institution, as a community, as an American community? When have you seen them outed and showed protest or sorrow for a child that was a victim at the hands of one of their counterparts? You never seen it, have you? You never seen them express any kind of sorrow about a cop doing sexual acts with children. You never see that, right? But let a cop die and get shot out here, right? The whole institution bowing their knees and all of this, ain't they? You see all these cops pull up, but you don't see them pull up when they do something to some children, specifically, do you? You don't see them acknowledge it, in other words. They do not acknowledge it. But they're quick to acknowledge what your community do with children, aren't they? They're quick to acknowledge that. But they do not acknowledge when they're trained men who are trained and paid to protect children and to arrest both pedophiles and sexual predators. You don't see them acknowledge that when one of the police who are trained to do those things have been found guilty of pedophilia. You don't see them acknowledge that, do you? Although he or she is trained to protect children and paid for it. You don't see them acknowledge that, do you? Do they? Do you? You don't see that, do you? That's what I'm saying. So the first example I'm going to give you is Officer Shaderick Jones down in Iberville, Louisiana. And I've been talking about this over a year, but hey, they hold us in folklore about what they think we did years ago. They talk about it year after year. Think about it. We gotta use the same strategy. We gotta keep these real acts alive that they've done. Just like they try to keep what you did alive. We gotta keep what they did alive. That's right. You got Officer Shaderick Jones down in Iberville, Louisiana. He made a woman perform a sex act. Brace yourself for this. He made a mother perform a sex act on her 1-year-old infant child. This is facts, guys. I told you on my channel, it ain't no conspiracy theory and all of that. It's bona fide, straight up, real hardcore reality. Officer Shaderick Jones, down in Iberville, Louisiana, that's where he was at, made a woman, came to her house to serve a warrant, a black mother too. I don't care if he was black. I look at the fact that he should see black people as law enforcement as being targeted and stereotyped and oppressed. And yet he oppresses this woman, this black woman. Who cares if he was black? That's what's wrong with black people now. They think they got the pass to play with other black people. You have to think outside of yourself as a person of color. You have to think outside of yourself and do not oppress people that are already oppressed. And in with no cares about you being black yourself. You see how deep an issue it is? That even though you're black, you can't go around oppressing black people. Because they're already oppressed already as it is. This black cop goes to this woman's house, this black woman's house, and make her perform a sex act on her own child. And that most likely would have never happened. Do you think the police institution should be alive and should be still here after that? And here's the other thing. How come the cops nationwide didn't say nothing about it? Why? We didn't hear anything out of the whole police institution. The captains, the sergeants, all of them. Did we hear anything from the American cop institution? We did not, did we? Where one of their counterparts, this is your, look, you look out for each other. You feel that you're one big family. Come on, you don't think I know that? You feel like you're all one big family and you got to all look out for each other and your rights as cops and your benefits as cops. You got to look out for each other. That's how you feel. But see, it works both ways, though. You can't go around with that mentality by itself, right? You got to also take the good and you got to take the bad and the ugly with it. You got to take the bad and the ugly, okay? And when it comes to one of your counterparts that is guilty of having sex with of making a woman perform a sex act on her own child that came out of her womb now, that's worse as it can get. That's bad as it can get. The cop made the woman perform a sex act on her own 1-year-old infant child, which means the child was in diapers. So let's understand what actually happened. This cop made this woman take the diaper off her child. And he watched it and filmed it and stayed at the woman's house for almost 2 hours. They clocked them in at 2 hours. Staying at the woman's house. And you see why you wonder why I don't like cops. I got good reasons. It ain't just some chip on my shoulder because of some street life mentality. That's what you thought. Some chip on my shoulder because of street life mentality. This is what I'm talking about right here. This is what I'm talking about right here. This man was trained to protect children. This man had hours of training on what the procedures are to protect children. This man had trained hours and hours of trained time to protect children in your community. He turns around and go issue a warrant to a woman, go to her house, and forces her, coerced her to perform a sex act on a 1-year-old infant child. This is a fully grown man. This is not a child cop. Okay? Children do things among themselves, right? This is a fully grown man, musty man. He just got off of his shift at that day, so he was literally musty, a musty, funky cop. A musty, funky cop just getting off of his shift down in Iberville, Louisiana. Just getting off of his shift. This is what they said. He just got off his shift 30 minutes prior to this. He goes to this woman's house after getting off his shift to issue a warrant. I don't understand that. After you get off your shift, you're issuing warrants? I don't understand that, but that's what happened. So he goes to this woman's house, this black mother who has a 1-year-old child. You can't get no lower than that. While you worried about and talking about other crazy stuff, Your cops has done this. Have you heard anybody in the American community do this? Have you heard anybody in your American community do this? To a 1-year-old child that obviously definitely had a diaper on. She had to take the diaper off and perform a sex act on her child, man. She performed oral sex on this child. And this cop recorded it. He recorded it, man. And the act went on for about 2 hours. All I'm asking you is, don't you think it's time that this just all goes away? Because here's the other thing. Your American community didn't say nothing. Yeah, oh yeah, I'm getting to you. Is you retarded? Are you retarded? You ain't hear none of CNN talk about this. Go look it up. Did CNN substantially talk about it? Did any of these politicians, the president should have came out for this. If a cop did it, yes. If a cop coerced and pressured a woman, being him a cop, she just trusted him as a cop, right? She trusted him. She felt she was gonna go to jail if she didn't do it. This explains, most people would rather die than do that and just say, go ahead and shoot me or go ahead and take me to jail or whatever you're gonna do. But she didn't do that. She felt, which I think she was mentally challenged. That's what I think. And I think also the cop knew she was mentally challenged. And he knew he could do this and make it like some little dirty little secret because she's slow and something wrong with her. Go look at the picture of the woman. I'm not judging. I'm just saying. And I think he thought he could make this his dirty little secret because this woman is slow and he's going to take advantage of the whole situation. He wouldn't have done that with a white woman. Oh yeah, that's a 7 hour. This black cop wouldn't have asked no white woman to perform no sex act on her infant child. So you see how black people can even be racist? I guarantee you he wouldn't ask no Asian woman to perform a sex act on her one-year-old child. I bet this cop wouldn't have asked no Puerto Rican woman to perform a sex act on her 1-year-old child. He thought he could manipulate this slow black woman. That's what it was. You think he's gonna go into a house of a classy woman, classy white woman, that looks like a homemaker, that looks like a housewife, and she's got an apron on, look like she's been cooking, and she has a 1-year-old child. You think that black cop is going to ask this homemaker, housewife, classy woman, sophisticated woman, to perform a sex act on her child? They would have him killed. White people in Louisiana too, they would have had that man killed. Only reason he ain't killed, you know why? Because it was a black woman. Let it have been a white woman. That community down there would have had that man lynched. The only reason he alive is because white people don't care nothing about it. Because they ain't got nothing to do with white people. That's the only reason. But we didn't see the black people come out, did we? See, you're one-track minded. You say Black Lives Matter. What about the life of this 1-year-old infant child? What about that? Huh? Oh yeah, Black Lives Matter was out then. And you're one-track minded. All you talking about is these police shootings. You make me think you're a moron. You make me think you're a moron. A dull-minded moron. Okay? We didn't hear any of these politicians come out. We didn't hear any of these pro-black politicians come out when this happened at the hands of a cop. Boom, ow, that's it right there. That's a 7 ow. You black politicians, you pro-black leaders should have looked at it, besides the cop being black, you should have looked at it as a cop who knows how it is out here in this world in America with black people. Know how it is. Don't care what color they are. They, as a uniform, know how it is with black people interacting with cops. It's no excuse. And yet you didn't look at it like another act of assault from a cop on a black person. This is for all the activists. This is for all the pro-black people. This is for all the Black Lives Matter. How come you did not look at this? This is one of your own. This is what I'm talking about. This is what made me question, are you really for black people? Are you just doing, is it all some type of propaganda? Or is it all you got some other motives? Because you don't seem to see everything, do you? You don't seem to see everything. You don't seem to see everything. Not to mention the black on black crime that's skyrocketing out the roof. You don't seem to talk about that. All you talk about is these random cop shootings. When you got a whole chaotic community. We didn't see any of these politicians. We didn't see any of these Black Lives Matter and pro-black leaders and all of this and these activists from pro-black activists. We didn't see none of them look at a cop that made a woman perform a sex act on her 1-year-old black child. We didn't see any of you pull up and say anything. Now, can you explain that to me? For all you community watch people all across the country, how come you ain't saying nothing about this? This is probably up there with the worst things that's happened in American history. Yeah, as far as sex acts with children, yes. This would rank in the top 100. Being that it was a cop, that alone. Anytime a cop interacts with a child sexually, it is in a whole nother lane. And the reason why is because they're trained to protect children. They're paid money, your American currency. They're paid that money to protect children. I'm not paid to protect children. Last time I checked, you're not paid to protect children. Now, are you? These cops are paid to protect children, and you're not. And you don't get paid to do that. This cop was paid by your community, by your government. He should get the death penalty, don't you think? I think so. His life he forfeited his life. In another country, he would have been dead. That's what I'm saying. Y'all, you think you hard, but you really soft. In another country, if he was in Iraq or Iran, Iranian or Iraq police, think about it now. Think about it. You know where I'm going with this? If a police in Iraq or a police in Iran came to a woman's house, an Iranian woman, and made her perform a sex act on her child, a 1-year-old child, you know that the country would have that man killed. He wouldn't go to jail. They would have him killed. He might not make it to jail. Some mob would just come lynching him. A mob will come lynch that man. And who knows what they would do with his body? Who knows what they would do with him? They might cook him. Cook him and feed him to animals. This is what I'm trying to show you. And this is why judgment is coming on your country, because I'm showing you how hypocritical you are, how much of a chicken hood politic eating country you are. You are chicken eating hood politic ignorant people. All of you. Sitting around eating chicken hood politicking. While 1-year-old child you overlooked received a sex act from his own mother, and a cop made her do it. And all you hood politic chicken eating people. And I'm not being racist, I'm being culturally precise. Hood politics, chicken eating. It paints a picture of the cultural ignorance, the American ignorance, sitting around eating chicken, politicking about stuff. Meanwhile, while you was eating chicken and politicking, a 1-year-old child was given an oral sex act from its own mother because of a cop forcing her, putting pressure on her because she had a warrant, putting pressure on her with that situation to make her do that. And you think you're playing with me? See, this is the information I've been carrying in my heart and my soul. While you think I'm some ignorant delinquent, this is the information I've been carrying in my heart for well over a year now. So now it's ranking. I rank differently because I've been carrying this information like it's a baby. I've been carrying this about your community. This did not say anything about it. Donald Trump was in office at the time that it happened. Just in case you didn't think it was relevant. Donald Trump was in office when it happened. Donald Trump was in office when it happened. Donald Trump didn't say nothing about this, did he? You would think the president would come out and address a cop for that reason. Because you know, y'all act like the black lives don't really matter. So you thinking black people. Now, if this had been a white woman, this is all I'm trying to show you. If this had happened to a white woman, man, y'all still would be talking about it. Yes, you would. Yes, you would. You would still be talking about this. You would still be talking about this if this happened to an Asian woman and someone made her perform a sex act on her Asian 1-year-old infant child. You would still, your whole country would still be talking about it. If it was a white, blonde-haired, blue-eyed woman, housewife, classy woman, sophisticated and all of that, cooking at home, living in the middle-class dream, and some cop came to her house and made her perform a sex act on her 1-year-old infant child, we would still be talking about that today. It would be in your folklore, in your legend, as far as the worst individuals in your community. You would still be talking about it. Somebody would still be talking about it. I'm not saying everybody will wake up talking about it, but somebody would, somewhere in this country, would still be talking about this. And guess what? Half of y'all don't even know this right here. This is the worst. What else could be worse than this? So now we see really how you really are when it comes to this. It destroys all your operations, don't it? It destroys all your operations as cops and as community when I show you that a cop asked a woman to perform a sex act on her 1-year-old child, and y'all said nothing and did nothing. The American community did not protest, did they? The American community did not protest, did they? Your community didn't protest, did they? Cops didn't protest. Cops didn't protest it either, did they? The president didn't say nothing about it, did he? Okay, so this deserves death, right? Man, if somebody make a child, if put yourself for men, let's talk to the men for a minute. Men, if somebody made your baby mother or your wife perform a sex act, came to her house, right? You already mad because somebody else violating your wife sexually or your baby mother sexually. You already want blood for that, right? But let's just go past that. Because obviously it's way worse and a little deeper. Way deeper. The cop comes to somebody made this woman have this baby. She ain't had this baby on her own. So this baby, the baby daddy, I don't know what he did about it. I don't know what he said about it. But put yourself in his shoes if you had heard this. Somebody made your baby mother or wife perform a sex act on your son as a baby, and you've been coming back and forth doing for the baby and stuff. He's only 12 months old, man. Over 12 months old, just a little, not even 2 months, not even 24 months. He's not even 2 years old. He's 1 year old. And a funky, musty cop comes, American cop, that is paid to protect children, trained to protect children. He has hours of training to protect children. He's paid to protect children. You find out he made your wife perform a sex act on your 1 year old child. You want that man dead, wouldn't you? You want him chopped up and cooked. That's how angry you would be. Chopped up, cooked, and fed to animals, and defecated out of animals. Chopped and cooked, fed the animals, and defecated out of animals. Where he literally becomes a piece of defecated feces. He is a piece of feces. He becomes a piece of feces. Chopped up, cooked, chopped up, fed the animals, and defecated out. And that's what half of y'all will want done. Yet, meanwhile, in real reality, in mainland USA, we hear nothing from Black Lives Matter concerning this child that was sexually violated because of an American cop. We don't hear any of these politicians talk. This is big, bro. I mean, you protesting about some random guys that probably was doing crimes anyway, getting shot. They wasn't angels. Pretty sure they was doing something wrong. So you take time to protest about big musty men getting shot and probably was doing something wrong. But you don't take the time to protest in your whole community and country, and even the police or nobody, and these politicians don't even address it. When a 1 year old child is violated by a cop. Look, no age is lower than 1 year old. How old? It would to be worse, it would have to be a month's time. And it was still an infant child in infancy. In your community, I'm not trying to put a guilt trip on you. I'm not trying to put a guilt trip on you. I'm showing you reality and how you said nothing. You said nothing about this. I read the paper. You read the paper just like I read the paper. I don't have no special gifts to find what goes on in the world. I don't have no special gift that makes my ears open up to stuff miles and miles and hundreds of miles and thousands of miles away. You read the same paper, you look at the same headlines I do. How come y'all ain't protest about it? I'm sure somebody's seen it. But how come no protest was ignited because of this cop making a woman perform a sex act, a black mother perform a sex act on her 1-year-old infant child? That's what makes you wonder, right? It makes you wonder. It makes you wonder. I'm sure hundreds of thousands of people seen the same headline I seen, which should have provoked a protest, even from police. How come it didn't provoke a protest? Oh, I know why. I know why. You know why? I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why. Because you was too ashamed to talk about it. You was too disgusted to do anything about it. See, so you really, so guess what? You know what that means? You really don't have the stomach to do this, do you? You need to get out the game. You need to get out the game of thinking you're protecting children. You see what I'm doing? I got the stomach to do this. No matter what the devil throws my way, no matter what spirits he brings my way, I have the stomach to do this. You don't. So how dare you? How dare you, after you didn't protest about this child, this 1-year-old child in your community? It was headlines to everybody, just like it was headlines to me. How dare you act like you a child protector in my presence? How dare you roll around like you protect the children in my presence? And I'm talking about me. The person that has a stomach to protest and talk about this when none of your community had the stomach to do this, to protest about this. None of y'all had the stomach to do it. So you're not built for it. Yet you acting like you built for it. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to show you. Who's really about this life and who's not. It looks like your whole community is not about this. Well, you got 43 states of child marriage. You ain't talked about that yet. Not as a community. Not as a police institution. And that's why I don't take you seriously and I don't respect you as a community, and I don't respect the police. Okay, how come you ain't said nothing about these 43 states of child marriage? Oh, you hope it gets better. You wouldn't say that if it was a civilian out in the streets messing with these children. You wouldn't say hope it gets better. You would do something about it to make it better. You would try, even if you had to do something underhanded, like you're trying to do underhanded stuff to me, you would do something to try to make it better. But when it comes to the American government, oh, you hope it something gets better. You hope it gets better. Looks like you're on their side, rain, sun, or shine, and you really ain't about the life of protecting children, are you? It looks like you're really not about protecting children when it comes to the American government, and that is for the community as well. It looks like you're not about protecting children when I show you the American government does it. When I show you the American government has child marriage, it seems like you don't care about protecting children. All of a sudden, those feelings go away, don't it? That's how much of a coward you are, community, as far collectively speaking. That's how much of a coward your community is, collectively speaking. Well, it just seems like you don't want no smoke when it comes to these American government laws of child marriage. Seems like you don't want no smoke at all, do you? See, that's how much of a coward you are. Why would I respect somebody like that? Well, I can clearly show you American police asking a woman to perform a sex act on her child, right? And you got 43 states of child marriage in the country right now. And you had it when she was doing that. You ain't saying nothing about that, are you? That's what I'm saying. Now put yourself in my shoes. Would you feel that this community is a child protecting community? Or are they playing games? Or are they just doing lazily what they want to do? Or are they just doing what pays? Are they just doing what is in culture and fad? What would you feel if you was me? When you seen a black cop make a woman put pressure on a woman to perform a sex act on a 1-year-old child, and your whole community says nothing, what would you think if you was me? Because you don't know this. You ain't been living with this. You haven't been living with this information. I'm talking about me, who has waken up and went to sleep with this information in my heart. How would you feel about this community? What kind of person would you grow to be? That's the better question. What kind of person would you grow to be? What kind of person would you grow to be when you see a whole community don't say nothing, including Black Lives Matter, including politicians, including all of these pro-Black activists running and ripping and raving and ranting around? What would you think about them when they say nothing about a Black mother performing a sex act on a Black child by a Black cop? What would you think? You don't hear Black people talk about it, white people, you don't hear Hispanics talk about it, Latinos, Asians, and everything in between. You don't hear nobody talk about it. But you don't care about color, you care about protecting children. Okay, how come you ain't say nothing about that then? Because you'll say, when it comes to people like me and other people, well, it's not because this person is Black, we protect children. Okay, you really do? That's what it is? Okay, so how come you ain't saying nothing about this cop? This hit the news, guys, since I've been living in this apartment. This isn't ancient news. Since I've been living in my apartment, this hit the news. How come the Black, white, and Hispanic and Latino community said nothing about a Black cop forcing a Black mother down in Louisiana, Iberville, Louisiana, to perform a sex act on her 1-year-old infant child? How come y'all ain't say nothing about that as a community collectively? Cat got your tongue? Cat got your tongue? That's why you in trouble. Because in reality, you got your picks and you're retarded when it comes to your surroundings. You're retarded when it comes to your surroundings. You got 43 states of child marriage and you ain't saying nothing about it. You got a Black cop that make a Black woman perform a sex act or her infant child, and you say nothing about it. You retarded when it comes to your surroundings. This is how this government got you, to where you just work and you're retarded to everything around you.